So let me just put this disclaimer out there as I have to normally. This video has nothing to do with any type of hatred or animosity towards a certain type of community, nor is it meant to cause any type of hatred or animosity towards any community. This story is to just point out the hypocrisy and the problems that are persistent amongst those who decide that they want to speak on certain topics. And this topic is dealing with Caitlyn and Bruce Jenner, who were both a part of a car accident that ended up taking some people away off of this plane of existence. But to better put this into perspective, I'm going to allow a clip of somebody from the community to speak and say what it is that a lot of people think.
Because I don't know now black that can go out there, hit a in a car, kill a family or kill a folks, get up the next day and go get a whole reality television show, transition and become a woman, and then be woman of the year and be laying on Vanity Fair.
Well, I could think of one person, but I'm not gonna say that.
Which one?
No, but they didn't let her lay that down.
They didn't.
I mean, I disagree though, because she kind of had like.
No, they dragged her recently.
She didn't mean to do it.
She did.
That was an accident.
Yeah. Caitlyn got up and hit it.
Caitlyn was like,
"Hi guys, hey,
that was a different.
How's everybody doing? Oh God, did they survive? Wow. Hey, did they survive? Oh, they didn't. Oh."
The adult stepchildren of a woman had her life taken in February in a 4-car crash that also included Bruce Jenner have filed a civil lawsuit against the former Olympian and reality TV star. Jenner, who publicly spoke to ABC's Diane Sawyer on April 24th for the first time about being transgender, stated at the time of the incident that he was cooperating with police as they investigated the fatal crash. It occurred on a tricky stretch of a highway where the road is narrow and twisting. Kimberly Howe was driving her Lexus on Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu, California, when Jenner struck the rear of the vehicle, quote, propelling her vehicle into the opposed lane of traffic. The lawsuit also calls for unspecified damages and the cost of the suit. Jenner was not injured in the crash. Nirab stated that at the time. Shortly after the accident, Nirab provided a statement from Jenner to the family, quote, my heartfelt and deepest sympathies go out to the family and the loved ones and to all of those who are involved or injured in the terrible accident. Jenner stated that in a statement released a day after the February 7th accident, quote, it was a devastating tragedy, and I cannot pretend to imagine what this family is going through at this time. I am praying for them. I will continue to cooperate in every way possible. Jenner first catapulted to fame after winning the 1976 Olympic decathlon and now draws the celebrity spotlight for his role in the, quote, Keeping Up with the Kardashians reality TV show and his decision to talk publicly about his gender transition. Authorities hadn't determined who was at fault in the crash. Sergeant Philip Brooks of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department stated that to CNN. The day Jenner was driving a black Cadillac SUV, that was the third vehicle involved in a multiple rear-end collision. The first vehicle was a black Toyota Prius, and behind it was Kim Howe's white Lexus sedan, which also hit its brakes. Jenner's Escalade was towing a trailer with an all-terrain vehicle on it when it ran into the Lexus from behind. The Lexus spun into oncoming traffic and was hit by a Hummer H2. The department later opened a vehicular manslaughter investigation. The investigation will focus on everyone in the case, not just one person. A deputy stated that Jenner voluntarily took a field sobriety test and was questioned and then went home. Jenner passed the test. 5 children and 2 adults were hospitalized with injuries. Caitlyn Jenner will pay $800,000 to settle a lawsuit stemming from a 2015 fatal car crash. Jenner struck a car that slammed into a vehicle in which 5 family members had been riding, including musician Peter Wolf Melesi, his wife Leah Wolf Melesi, and their 2 children, and Leah's mother, Elga Merer. According to the petition to the court to accept the settlement, which was obtained by ABC, Merer will receive $500,000. Peter and Leah Wolf Melesi will each receive $100,000, and their 2 sons will receive 50 grand apiece. The document states that Merer suffered a cervical spine fracture. Peter Wolf Malesi suffered severe nerve injuries to his hand and wrist. Leah Peter Wolf Malesi suffered blunt trauma to her knees as well as neck and back injuries and emotional distress. Nino Wolf Malesi suffered blunt trauma and emotional distress. And Gaetano Wolf Malesi, who was 4 weeks old at the time, was hospitalized after he failed to respond to stimuli at the scene. Later, doctors determined that he suffered no physical injuries. Jenner will also pay for the plaintiff's medical expenses and attorney fees. Quote, there's been a confidential statement of all claims and cross complaints, and all parties are satisfied with the outcome. Added Spencer Lucas, the attorney for Wolf Malesi's family. Quote, the case has settled and the Wolf Malesi's family is happy to be moving on with their lives. Jenner, 68, was involved in a 4-car pileup in Malibu, California on February 7th of 2015 that resulted in the death of 70-year-old Kim Howell. She was not charged with a crime, and the Los Angeles County District Attorney determined that she was driving below the speed limit and engaged her brakes before impact. Quote, we believe from the start that a thorough and objective investigation would clear Caitlyn of any criminal wrongdoing. We are heartened. The district attorney has agreed that even a misdemeanor charge would be inappropriate. A traffic accident, however devastating and heartbreaking when a life is lost, is not necessarily a criminal matter. Okay, so these are the very simple facts, right? Caitlyn was involved in a crash, could not escape that no matter, how, you might have want to escape that situation. The fact of the matter is, you were found guilty, you were found liable. The jury was like, yeah, you did it. We don't know, or we don't care how it is that you want to try to run away from the situation. Hey, it is what it is. The proof is directly in the pudding. We have all of the photos. We have your vehicle directly at the scene. And we can also tell the great many of lives that will also change because of your actions and your negligence. Again, this is a person who was found liable, who was found guilty of contributing to this act. And here we have OJ Simpson, right? He was acquitted. He was found not guilty of whatever it is that people were trying to say that he did. And you still have people from the era of 1995 that are still angry, that are still enraged, that are still mad that this took place. Now, the funniest thing is, we all know that this story had to do with race, right? We all knew that this story pretty much splits the United, if you were to go back in time, this story literally split the United States in half. You had the one portion of the true Americans that were like, oh no, we know that he did it, yada, yada, yada. And then you had the other portion of Black Americans that were like, nah, they lying on him. They're just trying to lock another brother up because he was with whoever it is that he was with at this moment in time, and they were just mad that he's Black, successful, and rich, and yeah, right? That's pretty much where the split was. That's exactly where that divide was. It was so thick during that time. You had to be there in order to understand and witness what was taking place. Just going back in a sense and looking at videos is not going to put you back in that time, in that era, around, a lot of the conversations at, stores, at barbershops, and so on and so on and so on. Like, this was literally everywhere. This was the talk of a lot of towns across the United States. This is how big this story was, right? This was a very pivotal moment.
The defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the...
Many of the lawyers in the crowd were not surprised at the verdict.
It appears to be a devastating verdict against police and prosecutorial misconduct. Evidently, the real issue in front of that jury was whether or not the police had fabricated evidence.
I thought that it was a verdict that had to happen. We don't have enough information about what happened underneath the case, but for a jury to find anything beyond a reasonable doubt with that prosecution would have been wrong.
It was a credibility verdict, purely, in terms of the prosecution's case, obviously, and the
process worked, and the rule of law was adhered to. Now, does that mean that everyone's happy with that verdict? No. Justice is not an opinion poll.
I think they turned it into a bit of a farce. I think they put racism on trial, not it wasn't a murder trial. It was a racism trial.
Mabel Pentowski grew tired of the trial, but the verdict makes her want to do it over.
I'm sort of unhappy with the verdict, and yet, I mean, there is a reasonable doubt, but I think it should have been maybe retried without this Mark Furman business.
Jury in the above entitled action find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime.
Yes, yes. I knew it. As charged. Yes, yes.
You knew it. Why would you know it?
Yes.
Why? Because he's covering up for somebody. He didn't do it. He knows who did it, but he didn't do it.
I think he got away with murder.
Like I said, during that time, you had to be there in that area to experience all of the raw, unfiltered emotion. And some of the clips, it captured a little bit of that. You saw some of the people in shock, awe, dismay, and they were just like, "Oh, I just, this is not what what just happened. This is ridiculous." And you heard some of the people there that were like, "Yo, I know that he did it. I feel that he did it. There needs to be another retrial because you had all of these people that are like, I have a feeling." They're not stating that they got evidence. They're not stating that they 100% know. They're not stating that they got the facts. They're just going off of a feeling. And this is what it looks like if in a sense you allow people to go off of feelings and to judge based off of that, there would be a lot of guilty people directly out here. Somebody could just see somebody down the street and be like, "Oh, you're guilty of something." Automatically, that person is going to be serving time and they're going to be in jail because of what somebody feels, right? Their perception, their perspective on a whole nother person, right? And then you had the other people on the other side that were like, "Yes, I knew he was innocent," right? And they're going by the trial. They're going by the evidence that is innocence there, that is being presented, that has already been established, right? They're going by the facts that are there. And then you had some people that stated something very interesting, something that I never heard of before. One man stated that I knew he was innocent, right? He's covering for somebody. They stated that he knows who did it. It wasn't him. He didn't specifically did it. He's just, in a sense, the cover man for the whole thing while the actual person, in a sense, gets away. Right? So, don't be too shocked that you're going to see every now and again throughout the up and coming months stories about OJ. They might decide to randomly do a documentary or a re-go over the evidence or the trials. You might have the Goldman family coming directly out, right? Because this is what tends to happen. The moment in time that you have a lot of these celebrities that were on trial, they just so happen to pass, people will come directly out of the woodworks. The exact same people will come directly out of the woodworks in order to start crying some magical tears, in order to start talking about some type of anger. They may come out with a book. They might get a TV, right? It's going to be all of this money type of talk. It's going to be all of this money on the scene. Because as I stated before, where were any of these people when OJ was alive and he was all over social media? Where were all of these people to talk? Nowhere to be found. Not trying to say or do nothing. Like case in point, Caitlyn Jenner. OJ has been around for such a long time. He was on social media as of recent, but yet stayed silent. Didn't want to say nothing. But the moment in time you decide that you want to speak when a man can't even respond. You want to speak when a man is no longer here. But you weren't so brave to sit up there and talk. The moment in time that this man was still alive and breathing and he was on podcasts, he could respond, he could say this, he could say that. Didn't want to sit up there and say nothing then. Like I said, people will show you how brave they are when a person is no longer here.